Welcome to Moving Conversations, a podcast for movement professionals by movement professionals. If you coach, train, or teach movement, Pilates, or fitness, then this podcast is for you. With more than 60 years of experience in fitness and Pilates, your hosts Brian Ritchie and Nora St. John explore the science of human movement, diving deep into the facts, myths, and common misconceptions, hoping to spark thought and conversation about how we view fitness and movement. Now, let's jump into Moving Conversations.
And welcome back to Moving Conversations. I'm Brian Ritchie. Joining me as always is Nora St. John. Hello, Nora. It has been a long time since we've recorded and seen each other.
It has, Brian. I'm so happy to be back on the show with you. I have a little bit of jet lag. Again, you and I were both in Asia for extended periods of time, and I'm still in my jet lag phase. But hopefully my brain will be connected today. We'll see how that goes.
I gotta tell you, it took me being there 3 weeks, and that was only, a little more than half of what you were there for or something. It kicked my butt. Coming back, I gotta say, jet lag, as we age, we don't bounce back as quickly as we used to. And usually 2 weeks, no problem. It takes me a few days to sort of get back into swings. After 3 weeks, I was like, oh, this is taking me longer. So I can only imagine, as long as you were gone, how this is just knocking you for a loop.
It's been 40 days plus a cold, which, always makes things a little bit funkier. Yeah. Plus it's been really cold and gray here. And I always find jet lag is easy to deal with when it's sunny. Like if it's sunny where I land, whether it's here or Europe or anything else, I get back on track quicker. So I got to get out in the sunlight today and see if that'll reset me a bit.
That'll help. That should help.
Yeah, I hope so.
Very good.
Although it's still gray and gooky out there.
Well, you and I spoke a little bit a couple days ago to think about how do we want to start the new year? Because, hey, Happy New Year. This is the first of 2026 for recording. So
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
And to all of our listeners. I hope you have a wonderful new year.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hopefully you did a lot of fun things over the holidays. But now we're back in the swing. And kids are going back to school. We're getting back to work. Things are the holidays are behind us. So I don't know about you, but with clients, it always seems like September and January are reset buttons.
Those are the reset buttons.
You have that memory of school that, okay, end of summer, now it's time to get back to work. And January is always that new year. Okay, let's start this fresh, forget about last year. How are we going to start this year off, on the right foot? Every gym is going to be packed. I've already talked to my kids and said, okay, maybe we don't go on Saturdays anymore. Maybe we go in the, in the afternoon because it's going to be busy for a few weeks. But yeah, so things are getting back to normal again. And you and I thought might be a good idea for us to talk about not necessarily New Year's resolutions, but more New Year's thoughts, planning. What do we want to accomplish this year?
Yeah, and we really wanted to frame this a little bit differently than resolutions.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that, they're also just, we know how useless they are, right? They've been useless for all of us for many years. So one of the things I wanted to think about, and this has come out of my doing all the AMP, the advancement principles teaching that I've been doing around the world. And one of the things that I have tasked the students with during that course, which has been really fun, is we do a lot of assessments. We do a lot of movement assessments and postural assessments and all kinds of things. And I want them to write down all the insights they get about their own movement patterns and things they want to work on and things maybe that have always bothered them, but they've never really addressed. Because you know how we all are. It's like, it's good enough, right? Whatever, we're fine. And by the end of the 2 or 3 days of the course, they're kind of like, oh, they really identify some things that they want to address, whether it's, hamstring mobility or rotational strength or, endurance or whatever it is. And we thought that maybe this would be a nice time for you all out there, whether you're an instructor or a client or anything else, to just start to think about not I want to be more fit or I want to lose weight, but what exactly do you want to accomplish? Like, are there a few skills that you want to develop? Are there certain deficits in your physicality that you want to change? and really take the time to think about what that is and kind of set a path for yourself for the next couple of months or even the next year, if that works for you.
Specifics are important. When
They
you are
are.
designing a goal, whenever someone sits down with me in the first session and they say, I want to get in shape, I want to get tone, I want to lose weight, I want to get out of pain, whatever it is, when it's that big, grand, gigantic balloon over your head, it's almost too difficult to accomplish all of that. And let's be honest, if you start working out even a little bit, you're going to get in better shape. So, I mean, that resolution just isn't specific enough. And so
Right.
we really want to take a look at specifics. What do you want to accomplish with yourself physically, especially? What exactly?
Because specificity is critical for assessment, right? If you don't say like, I want to, in my case, I want to get my left leg stronger. I've got a short left leg. It's always been weaker. And I always have to work on getting it, like keeping it up to snuff with the right leg. And it's like, I've got to be that specific, because that means then when I do my program design, I look at, okay, I've got to do some single leg and I've got to do some single leg on the left, because if I don't, then the right leg, which is my dominant leg, will just do all the work and the left leg never really gets any better, for example, right? So if I just say, I want to be fitter or I want to be stronger, that's very abstract. And in my brain, it's very abstract. It doesn't give me anything to actually, doesn't really give me an action plan or a goal. It just says, okay, let's try that, whatever that means.
And our bodies tend to go into autopilot. I don't know if you're this way, but I go to the gym or I go out here to work out in my studio, and you do what your body is used to, for one. You do what's fun, what's comfortable. You have sort of goals in mind of what you want to do, but they're sort of overarching. Okay, I'm working out, I'm lifting, I'm getting stronger, etc. But those really specific goals, to be able to say, like for you, getting my left leg stronger, that's my goal. Now you can literally put a design into effect on how you're going to do it. How do you want to make that change? And then make sure you do it with every single session or every other session.
Yeah, like we know when we work with clients, and I'm sure all of you who are instructors, when you work with clients, presumably some of you anyway, have real like skills you want that client to develop, things you're focusing on. And maybe it's scapular mobility, maybe it's dynamic pelvic control, maybe it's mobility of the hip flexors, whatever it is. You've got some goals that you're working on with them. And you know that at some point in the program, you're going to focus on that. And then you do whatever else you do in the program. But we often don't do that for ourselves. And I know self-assessment is really not that useful, as we also know, right? We can like, it just, oh, well, I'm thinking about this week. And oh no, this week, this is my focus. And now, oh, this is my focus. And you don't really get that idea of what you really need to focus on and be consistent with it for a period of time. So that's really kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah. And how many of us really do a self-assessment, real assessment of where we are? What do we want to accomplish? Because I can tell you with just myself, when I was in Asia, I was teaching a number of classes, and one that I was focusing on was cervical spine, and talking more about posture affecting a change in the cervical spine and the thoracic spine, and really focusing on that. And it really began to hit home. This is something that I want to focus on with myself, because it's something that we all need. And it was sort of a wake-up call even for myself. Okay, yeah, I need to do this. And I need to make an action plan for myself to make sure that I do this, so that it's not just this passing thought of, I should really do that, la-di-da, and don't even think about it again until the next time I'm teaching the class going, oh yeah, I meant to.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Geez, I really should be doing this. I don't know if you're like this, but.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With our clients, especially when we assess them, we write down what their goals are. And then I write down what my goals are for them.
Exactly.
And then every session when you're planning it, you're looking at it, or in the back of your brain at all times, you're thinking about, okay, this person's da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm focusing on these specific things. And then After I work on those, which I'll usually start with to a certain degree, then I'm going to sprinkle in other things when I'm looking at them. Oh, because today I'm seeing this or I'm seeing that, and we can do these things. So I move on from there, but I always have that in the back of my head. These are the specific things I want to change. But how many of us do that for ourselves?
And one of the things that I've been doing with this advancement principles program is having people write down. So when they're doing the assessments, and not write down the other person, but assess themselves and write it all
Yes.
down. And then I'll, like, the homework on the first night is, okay, go home and just look at all the assessments that you've just done for yourself, get a picture of it, see what else you want to learn during the rest of the course. And then on the second night, it's like, okay, now you're going to plan based on that assessment you've been doing for the last 2 days. You're going to plan a program. And I usually say 15 to 20 minutes. And the reason I say that is because I want a small, something that's hard to make an excuses about. Like, these are the 3 exercises I need to do, or these are the 4 exercises I need to do, and really get clear on what that is, that small chunk of stuff, and then write it down. So I have to write down everything. And that really helps. Like, everybody's come up and said, okay, now I really am clear on what I need to do.
When you have that focus, and writing down puts it into better focus. Okay. I'm going to admit something that I don't like, but as I've gotten a little older, my short-term memory is not what it once was.
Why no?
I don't know if you experience this or anybody at home experiences this, but
I'm a little older than you, Brian, for sure. It's like, really? What was I thinking? What was so important to me yesterday?
Yesterday, a minute ago, I'm thinking, oh, I need to look that up. I pick up my phone, look at it. What was I thinking about? I mean, and I'm thinking, okay. And fortunately, my wife goes through the same thing. She'll pick up her phone and she says, what were we just talking about? What was I going to look up? And I'm thinking, I don't remember either. So our short-term memory is not what it used to be.
Right.
So that goes for goals too, and ideas and what we want to do. So that's one reason I think why we do go through autopilot when we go into our fitness regimes, but we don't do that necessarily as much when we have clients because we have their goals written down.
Right.
We have that right in front of us if we choose to write it down. And you can, and I love what you're saying about giving a few exercises and have them focus on that. Whenever I train interns and staff members, I say every session should have a flow and should feel very similar to one another. So we sort of have a similar flow with one another. So no matter who covers a client, sessions feel similar at least.
Right.
And we always start with their primary goals first. So we do mostly rehab. So that's going to be our primary goal. So if it's their shoulder, if it's their neck, whatever it is, okay, we want to start with some of these exercises. You know, after they've warmed up, released, whatever they need to do at the beginning, we start focusing on this. Okay. Some people say, you don't want to focus on that right away. You want to warm up, prime the area. What I found is if I don't start with it, it often gets forgotten about, or there's not enough time later. I start getting other things in my head and start building on other ideas. So I want to start with that. 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes 15, but focus on those goals first. And then I'm going to build the rest of the session, keeping those goals in mind, sprinkling in other ideas, but also leaving holes available so that I can say, okay, I did notice that, we tried this. They're missing internal rotation here. I want to focus a little on that so I can add in a couple of other exercises here and there to fill in those gaps. So I want to try and create that, in my sessions. So that way I know I'm hitting all of their goals. I'm getting what needs to be done. And I think we really have to focus on that with ourselves.
Agreed. And one of the things that just when I'm doing a client program, I often do have a warm-up sequence, like 15 minutes, which it was kind of a generic for that person, get everything going at their level.
Sure.
Then I'll tend to focus on their problem area, or unless it's something like legs, which you can focus on right away. But if it's upper body, I often warm up a little bit first. But anyway, that being said, yes, I write it down and I give, again, whether it's for me or for them or for a home program, like really, what are the key things you need to focus on? Like, what are the three? I really do think about 3 exercises that shouldn't take more than about 10 to 12 minutes. And a lot of that is because after many years of working with clients, I've had 2 that will do their whole 20-minute to 25-minute home program on a regular basis.
Yep.
Most of them will not, or they won't do it too often. They'll do it occasionally, or they'll do it when they're in trouble, right? They'll do it when they're in pain.
Exactly. When they're
You
in
know,
pain.
when they're motivated. And so a lot of it's just like, how can I hone this down and just really pound? These are the most important things for me.
Yeah, no question. I've had that happen with a number of clients where you give them too many exercises. Number one, it's too much for them to do.
Yeah.
Number two, they begin to, we call it making the exercises their own, where they're mutating the exercises so that we don't even recognize it.
Exercise mutation. Yes. Those genes are very variable.
Exactly. So I say, okay, here are 3 exercises that I know they can do, and there's no excuses. Now I can always build upon those down the road, but start with the few that you know are going to get the best bang for their buck.
Right.
And that they can remember how to do.
Exactly. So getting back to how do we assess what where we're at? Like, how do we assess? So a couple of things. I mean, one is if you have an instructor that you really trust, whether it's a fellow teacher at your studio or it's a mentor that you're working with, or some other professional, like go to them and say, hey, I want a thorough assessment of my situation so that I can really focus my program for the year. Like, ask an expert. It's really, again, to Brian's point, it is really hard to assess yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can't see yourself from the outside. Nope. You can't see a misalignment the way that somebody else can. You can't feel the movement the way somebody else can see it, right? There's often a difference in terms of how something feels and what it actually is from the outside. So that's one way to do it. Another thing is if you kind of know you've got certain issues, film yourself doing certain moves and then analyze them if you don't have access to a movement professional. So there's lots of ways to do that, but do get clear on the 2 or 3 skills you really want to work on.
I love the fact that you say even film yourself, because how many times do you see yourself in a picture and you think, I didn't know I looked like that?
What's happening there?
And when I'm in Asia, there's some of the people that I teach for, they bring in a professional photographer. Social media is big there. So they bring in a professional photographer and they share with me the pictures. And I can't tell you how many times I'm like, ooh, that's not the best posture to do that with. And your body goes into autopilot. You're just reaching over, you're doing something quick. And I'm like, oh man, but it tells you the real story.
Yes.
You don't have this. When we try and pick, it's sort of like a filter on our cell phones. When we want to take the perfect picture, we can have these wonderful, filters that we can put on, and now we look great. But you want candid. You want something that's really going to show you what you are for real. Yeah. And then be true to yourself and honest with yourself, and don't be horrified with it and say, no, I don't want to look at that. Be like, okay, what do I see here? Which is one reason why I mentioned my cervical. I find that maybe it's my eyesight or something, but when I'm working with someone, my head automatically goes forward. And I saw those in the pictures. And that was when you said video yourself, that's what brought it to my mind. I didn't even realize it until I saw the pictures. And I said, oh yeah. And it could be eyesight, you want to get close, whatever it is, or focus. Right. I get focused and I lean forward.
Right.
But again, having those pictures brought it into reality for me.
Yep, absolutely.
And instead of just hitting delete, 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 I don't like the way I look in those.
Right.
Take in the information.
Yep.
And really let it sit with you and say, okay, I've got to focus on this.
I watch myself on video enough to be acutely aware of many of my physical habits. And then, trying to okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right. Just because, again, I've had to watch a million hours of myself on video because I've done all the editing for all my videos. And that's been a very good learning lesson, both verbally and visually, actually, in terms of my movement patterns. Now, another thing too is, and I want to bring this up because I've certainly seen this with a lot of my instructors, a lot of people, is it's not just what you look, but what do you feel? Because there's a lot of us, and I'm going to include myself in this, which just kind of, like that doesn't really work very well. That's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's okay. I'm not going to deal with it. You kind of put up with a certain amount of discomfort or a certain amount of something not really quite being where you want it to be. Just because it's not that bad, you're still functioning, everything's fine. But this is also an opportunity to look at those things, the things that maybe has been bugging you for 2 or 3 years, like a glitch in your knee or a little stiffness in your back, or in your case, like a little postural something. And pay attention to that, like look again and go, oh, okay, that maybe it's time to deal with that. Maybe it's time, if I pay a little more attention to that particular issue, then maybe I can make some progress. Maybe I don't have to put up with knee pain in the morning or stiff ankles or whatever it is that's causing you some trouble.
Getting back to that specificity of what is your body feeling? And do you want to change it? Do you want to make the changes? Because if you don't, that's one thing.
Right.
You and I both, we wake up in the morning, I walk to the bathroom and I feel 90 years old for the first 3 steps. And then it's like the age starts ticking down as I take more steps. And by the time I get to the bathroom, I'm feeling fine. But those first few steps are tough.
Yeah.
And, you're just like, oh, everything, it takes a while for the kinks to roll out. But again, if you notice that there is something that is lingering, something that you want to make that change, that's a perfect thing to do. Is really, how does your body feel? And what do you want it to feel like? Look, I'm not going to feel like I'm 20 anymore. That's just not going to happen. As much as I'd love it, it's not going to happen. But can I feel like my body moves a little better? Could I feel like I rotate a little bit better? Can I feel like I move better through space when I climb stairs? Whatever it is for people. Can you feel better doing that and be more comfortable doing it? I think for our clients, that's a big one.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Getting up and off the floor, whatever you're doing. One of the things that struck me is, again, many of us, and I'm including myself in this, so this is just what it is. That putting up with stuff is in many ways just really a laziness. It's just it doesn't quite come up to attention. It's not a red alarm fire. It's just a minor inconvenience or trouble spot. And if you kind of let those go, they don't get better, right? Like if you just kind of put up with that, especially at my age, because I'm in my 60s now, so things don't get better on their own. When I was 30, things got better on their own. Like I didn't have to think about it much. Yeah, things just got better. Now they don't get better so much. So it really takes effort. And one of the things that I've found a lot of my students is just paying attention. Like, okay, yeah, my back's been kind of bugging me for a while. I have kind of a good bit of just irritation there, whatever. Okay, now I'm going to focus on it and just focus on it for, the course days are, I'm holding my back in a position that doesn't make it feel better. I'm a little too tucked, or I'm a little too extended, or I stand on my right leg, or, whatever's happening, or I slump forward. So people start to recognize, just from awareness and from paying attention, maybe what is happening, so, when I do a lot of kneeling, it's just one of the positions I'm comfortable in. And if I kneel for too long, oddly enough, my knees hurt, which is not an unusual thing. So it's kind of like, okay, so know that, and then know, like, number one, I want to get better at that, but I also want to be aware, decrease the amount of time I'm kneeling. So, if I'm down for a couple of minutes doing something, get up and do something else. So just those little, like it's also part of that awareness practice of, you can sometimes manage some issues by just paying attention, knowing what feels better and what doesn't feel better, and making the choice for feeling better, which we also don't always do. We often just go, it's okay. Whatever, I'll pay attention to this later, which is what, is typical.
And you said it perfectly. It's the awareness. how many of us tune out those normal aches and pains that we have on a regular basis? Because if we didn't, they would rule our lives. And we all have close clients, that, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing in the world all the time. And for us, it's like, okay, it's there. You just put it on the shelf and you move on with the rest of your day.
Yeah.
But maybe it is time. Let's focus on that. What can you do? What specifically can you do on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever it is, that can hopefully decrease that a little bit so it's not as loud?
Yeah.
There are certain things that are not going away.
Yeah.
If you don't have cartilage in your knee, you don't have cartilage in your knee. It's not going to build on its own. But can you do something to just lessen that volume of it just a little bit, so that all of a sudden, oh, I don't notice it as much, and you can get it stronger.
Yeah. And that's kind of the trick, really. I mean, I think a lot of our job is to focus people's attention and our attention on a certain area for a period of time and see if there's a different way to do something, So one of the things too, Brian, was we had talked about when we were planning this session, having us talk a little bit about our goals for this period of time and thinking about what our kind of assessment is. And then we think we're going to try to do like a little check-in, a little once a month check-in for each other. So we'll do a little bit of an accountability partnership here. And also for you guys. So if any of you want to put your skills that you want to develop in the comments this time or next time, we're going to double up with this. And next time we're going to work a little more on long-term goals. Then feel free to put that in there. Like, what are the skills? Just again, writing things out, making them public is a nice way to focus your mind and your attention on the issue.
I think a lot of people are scared of accountability because it means you actually have to do it.
Right. Or else you have to feel bad about yourself, right? You got two choices, right? Like, oh, I did it. I'm so proud. Or, oh, I screwed up. I didn't do it. Oh, yeah.
But I'm gonna say this right now to everyone listening who wants to participate in some way. You can do it through a DM. You can direct message us. You can post it in the comments. And let us know how you're doing each week on Instagram. We're at Moving Combos. You could email us, movingcombos@gmail.com. Those are the easiest ways for you to join in with this and have a little bit of accountability. Now, I tell this to clients. When I was doing a lot of weight loss work and working with clients on that, I would tell every one of them at the beginning, look, you will never, I want you to be able to, first of all, be honest with me. There is nothing that you can say or that you can do that I have not done myself or I can't pop.
Exactly.
And usually their eyes get big and I said, you want to tell me you came in and ate a whole chocolate cake? All I'm going to do is just say, was it good? I can't change the fact that it was done.
Right.
I can get you refocused.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to make you feel bad.
Exactly.
There has to be accountability, but I'm also not going to make you feel bad. It's just, okay, maybe you didn't do exactly what you wanted to do. Let's get you focused again. So there's no guilt here. We're not going to make you feel bad, but there's something to be said about having someone to be able to tell this to say, okay, I need to have just a little bit of accountability. And even if it's just at the end of the month, just to be able to say, you know what, I'm moving a little bit better. The stiffness in my big toe isn't there as much as it was, or, I'm sleeping better through the night, whatever it is. Everybody's got their own thing. Everyone's got their own thing. I'll share one with you right now that I am proud of with myself. I have not been getting enough sleep.
Yes,
okay?
I do know that.
I was getting
a long time.
3.5 to 4.5 hours. That was about it. Having children, having a wife, by the time we put our kids to bed, the only time we had to spend time, my wife and I, was, after the kids went to bed, sort of thing. And it was 9:30 at night. By the time I went to sleep, it was about 11:15, and I'm up at 4. Sometimes I didn't get to bed until closer to midnight. And when I was in China, the one nice thing about us traveling is after the class, a lot of times you can sort of make rules about when you're going to bed because there's no one
Yeah,
else to answer to.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I was in bed by 9:30 every night. I was going to sleep 9:30 to 10 o'clock every single night, as much
Wow.
as I could. So I was up at 6:30, and I went, wow, 8 hours of sleep really helps. Now, I can't do that here. I've got to be on the road by 4:30 in the morning, or else traffic gets terrible in DC. So guess what? I'm going to bed earlier. When I came back, I told my family, I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say goodnight to the boys. At 9:30, I'm going to go and I'm going to start brushing my teeth. I'm going to be lying down, lights out at 10 at the latest. And I've done that the whole time since I got back. So I've been doing it now for 3
Nice.
weeks.
Good
And I got to
job.
say, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling
I'll
more
bet.
alert. I'm not as exhausted. And it's only given me about an extra hour to an hour and a half. But I got to tell you, it makes a difference. So I can physically say that one of the things that I wanted to make the change on, and I told my boys and I told my wife, it wasn't one of these things that I'm going to keep quiet and say, I'll try and do this. It was like, I told them, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
And so they could keep me accountable.
Right.
And it
That's
helps.
awesome. That's awesome. And you got buy-in, because otherwise, you feel like, oh, I should spend time with them. I should spend time with them, da, 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 da. And then you just have to make different plans. And, I bet Brian
Exactly.
too, just because that, I know enough about various issues that you've had going on, like that means your recovery is going to be better.
Yeah.
If you've got sleep time, a whole lot of repair work happens during sleep. And if you haven't been getting sleep for years, as far as I know, so that
Been a
does leave
while.
the body in a repair deficit. So
Yeah.
good for you. That's awesome.
Exactly. So, and I just wanted to share that because it didn't have to come at the new year, but it was after something, because I got back from China and it was sort of I've been doing this for this period of time. I'm already out of my old routine because it's been over 3 weeks. So let's make a new routine.
Awesome.
After the holidays, most of us are going to probably work out a little less because we're spending more time with our family, more time doing something. We're either traveling, this or that. So a lot of people don't necessarily do the things that they need to do. And at the beginning of the year, we sort of have that rejuvenation. Let's get this going. So this is a perfect opportunity to create those new patterns and those new habits. So I think it's the perfect thing. I'm going to ask you, what do you want to make it? I'll tell you, it's not just sleep. There's other things I want to focus on. But for you, do you have 1, 2, 3, 20, 25 things you want to change?
I do. So one of the things that I know about myself is when I'm teaching, when I'm like this 40 days in Asia, a whole lot of my self-care goes out the window. If I'm focusing on other things I have to do, people I have to talk to, preparing for class, teaching 7 or 8 or 9 hours a day, I don't stretch. I don't do my Pilates. It was really rough. And this time was particularly, I really did not take care of myself much during this particular 40 days. I walked a lot, which helps. I mean, that's kind of minimal, but I walked a lot, which was helpful. But a lot of the other things I do, I have a basic movement routine that's about a 15-minute warm up, and then I do some other things. I did that maybe 5 times in the 40 days. So, and that's just something I know about myself. When I really get busy, and this was true, working at Balanced Body and doing 80 hours a week of all the things I was doing there, it's hard for me to take care of myself because I'm thinking about other things. I'm thinking about other people. I'm taking care of things. So that's something that I'm just working on, really understanding, number one, planning my schedule so that I'm not so overloaded, because at this point, I feel like it's more important that I take care of my health and that I do other things, because that's just where it's at. That's the time of life I'm in. So some of it is just that. It's like coming back and going, okay, I'm really aware that that's a habit. And it's a habit that I really, really, really want to break. And that means, the first priority for me has to be my health, has to be getting up, moving, drinking water, getting out in the sunshine, doing the things I need to do. And that's a broad version. There's more specifics, but that's the broad version. That's really important for this whole next year. That's kind of my focus.
what are the like number 1 and 2 things that you could do to sort of immediately start that in this year? Let's break that down into specifics. What can you do?
So a couple things that are kind of like my minimal. So my minimum thing is I get up and I drink water because I'm just perpetually dehydrated. It's just kind of my physiology. So I come up and I get up and I drink water. And sometimes I'll have electrolytes, sometimes not. I'm not sure it makes a big difference either way. So I might not play with that. Then we have an elliptical, basically elliptical trainer, and I'll do that for at least 20, if not 30 minutes. And that gives me a good start to the day. Like if I just do water and the elliptical, then I at least have my blood moving. And I kind of want to do something until basically now it's winter, so my hands get warm, or I really feel like the blood is going through my body. That's kind of like step one. And then I have a sort of a secondary routine, which I sometimes get to, which is basically a lot of mobility work. So I do some Pilates exercises, but I also do a lot of, lately I've been doing a lot of Qigong and Tai Chi exercises, a lot of standing work, a lot of squats and lunges kind of things, a lot of rotational work. And I have a whole little routine. It's about a 20-minute routine. That kind of moves everything, moves all my joints, gets everything going, and gets some strength building, and some movement work. And those two things I was really quite regularly doing until I fell off the cliff in my travels. So getting back on that horse. And then I also, I really do like walking a lot. And one of my long-term goals is to be able to continue to walk, 15 to 20,000 steps a day, because I travel a lot and I really love walking and I love hiking. And so walking at least for an hour or two, a couple times a week is my other goal.
Nice. And what I like about those, they're not difficult.
No, they're not difficult.
They're not. I think especially when people are starting out, you and I have both had these clients, and I dealt with, weight loss issues with clients for many, many years. When a client comes and they say, I want to work out 6 days a week, I want to they set these goals that are almost unachievable.
Yeah, for anybody. Particularly for a period of time. Like that's going to work for a week, and then something's going to get in the way. If it even works for a week. Yeah. And
then it crumbles. And once it begins to crumble, it's sort of like the old diet saying, it's Saturday. I had breakfast this morning and I sort of blew it. The weekend's over. I'll start again on Monday.
Exactly.
No, that's not how this works. Get back on the train. Someone said this to me and I loved the analogy. They say, look, if you're driving down the road and you get a flat tire in one of your tires, do you jump out and flatten the other 3?
Right. That's a good one.
You fix it and you move on. And that's sort of the thing with this. Make the goals achievable.
Yeah.
Make sure that they're not something that are going to be so difficult for you to do that there's going to be an impediment. Or like you said, when you travel, it's difficult, how many places in the world have, if you're not teaching at a Pilates studio, have a reformer or something where you can say, I'm going to do my reformer workout. No, but is there Pilates you can do? Yes. So those type of things, giving yourself some things that there's really no excuses that you can work on. I think that's important.
Well, and just to be a little bit funny on that, like a lot of my goal is to have a workout I could do standing up. Because if you've ever been in a hotel room, like you may not really want to get on the floor. In Asia, a lot of the floors were right. Exactly. I've been in places where literally I could stand between the bed and the wall, but I couldn't move my arms, things like that. And I certainly couldn't lie down anywhere except on the bed, which is too soft. So basically having a workout that I can do standing up has been really important to me. Because that way I can do it anywhere. Like, even if I have to stand at the end of the bed and just get whatever room I can to do it, I can do it. And so that's been just a simple thing for my travel.
That's a great idea. And it can work. Again, you're giving yourself something very simple, but practical. People, we don't look for excuses, but man, do we find them.
Yes.
And just the way humans are. So I'll be honest, when I travel, I don't do my workout nearly as much as I should. I get a lot of walking in, like you do,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't get to the gym as much. I'm not doing as much cardio as I probably should. And
Yeah.
it's just you forget, and then you come back and you think, man, I really should have been doing that.
Mhm.
So giving yourself something where there is no excuse. You can find a 2 foot by 2 foot square that you can stand in.
That's the idea.
So, I mean, I love that idea that you've literally said, okay, what's the smallest room I've been in and where can I have no excuses? And I think that's great. I think that's a wonderful idea. Eliminate as many excuses as you can.
That's like barriers, right? Barriers to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
How many clients have told me, like, if I give them TheraBand work, or band work, I don't have anything to attach it to. I don't have a wall. I don't have, like, really? You don't have a wall? I mean, I've had clients who say, I can't lie down on the floor. I don't have a floor. Like, what do you mean you don't have a floor? You have a floor. Everybody has a floor, and it just the number of excuses. And I really do go for, like, what is the no excuses workout? Okay. All I need is to be able to stand up in a space this big and move my arms and my legs. I can do that. Right.
Yep.
Like, if I can't do that, then something's seriously wrong, because any space should allow you to do that.
Yep. Absolutely. I give my wife so much credit. I call her, if you've ever watched a cat or a dog when they get up out of a nap, what's the first thing they do? They stretch. She gets up. Before she even gets out of bed, she starts with some stretches in bed. Then she sits on the edge and she sort of does a modified mermaid, side stretching, rotation. She stands up, she gets on the floor a little bit before she gets to the restroom. And it took me even a while to realize she does this every single day.
Good for
and
her.
It's just her, and it's awesome. And I think, man, what do? My alarm goes off. I jump up and I hobble to the bathroom. And like I say, it takes me a few steps to get things uncreaked. And then by the time I get to the bathroom, I'm fine. And I'm thinking, if I could develop something where I could just sit up instead of grabbing my phone first, even just taking a deep breath in and doing some easy movement of my shoulders, my arms, rotation, small things to get my body sort of like a check-in with your body saying, okay, does this work? Does this work? Is this working? Is this working? Okay. It can help.
Yeah. And
you don't need much room. I'm sitting at the edge of a bed. How hard is that?
Right. Exactly. You can do that anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So eliminating those excuses is a wonderful first step, I think.
Yep. So you guys out there, if you're still listening, so hopefully some of you are still listening here, just think about that, right? Think about what your goals are, what you want to work on, how you want to work on it. And then also, I really cannot emphasize enough, write it down. Again, to Brian's point about memory, but that's also another way for the excuses not to show up, because it's like, I know when I don't write it down, like if I'm trying to really change my Pilates routine up and focus on certain things, I have to write down the 3 exercises I have to do. Because otherwise I will get on the reformer. It's been 35 years now, and I will go into autopilot and I'll do footwork and of the 6 things I like to do. Take me about 25 minutes and then I'm done. And I didn't get to those specifics.
Yep.
So if you really write down, like, and even for me, I have like my little 20-minute warm-up routine, I have written down, like I've written the whole thing down. So even when I'm feeling like I don't want to do it, like it's just right there. It sits in my room that I work out in my home. And I have it on my phone and I just pull it up. Okay, just start. And that's the other thing is I find if I start, then I get through the whole 20 minutes. Right? Like once I've kind of pushed the go button on that particular physical program, then I'm fine. But I have to push the go button. And so the first thing that I do is something that I really like to do. And I make that like, okay, I'm going to start, just do that. Just do this one thing. And then, okay, then I feel better because I'm moving. And then that reminds me of the next thing. And that pulls me through. So that's the other thing is it's like start with something you really like to do, feels good, or you enjoy it or something, like even if it's whatever it is, and then let that be your entryway into your routine.
I love that. I heard yesterday someone said, don't think, just do.
Exactly.
We'll talk ourselves out of things every
Absolutely.
time,
I'm so
especially
good
if you,
at that.
yeah, especially if it's first thing in the morning and you want to
Yes.
get up and do something,
Yep.
just do it. Don't think about it first. Just get up and do it. Or when you get home from work, you should go out for a walk, whatever it is, or after dinner, you plan to walk with, whatever it is. Don't think about it. Just go and do it. I think that's a super important thing to keep in mind. Just get up and move.
Yep. Yep. Because your brain's probably like my brain and like many brains out there, which is like, well, I really need to get this done. In your case, I suspect some of your morning routine is I really need to get to work.
Mhm.
Right. Because you have to get up early, you have to get in a car, you have to get to work. So there's a thing in front of you.
Yep.
And for a lot of us, there's that thing. It's like you've got your kids or your work or whatever, and you put all that in front of you, right? And like
Mhm.
that's the most important thing you're focused on. And it's like, oh well, I don't really have time because I have to, whatever it
Mhm.
is, right? The excuses again.
Yeah. Eliminating as many of those as possible is the smartest thing. And for me, I had a hard time this morning. I come into the office. I thought, okay, do your cardio. And I sat at my desk and I started going over emails and you should really be, you got to change now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. And it took me probably 15 minutes and finally just move, just go, just do it, just do it. And I had
Exactly.
to sort of convince myself and once I get started, oh, it's easy. I can,
Exactly.
but it was just getting that going. So again, just get started. It will help.
It's like activation energy. They talk about in terms of
Mhm.
chemical reactions. Like sometimes you just have to the activation energy has to be whatever it is. And like for me, it's like it's the elliptical. Like because I can get on there, and I can actually while I'm on there, I can read the news or I can read a book or I
Mhm.
can pay attention, whatever I'm doing. But it means it's like it leads me into movement, but I can still
Mhm.
do other things kind of. So it's at that in between space. And
Yeah.
then once I've done that, it's like okay. Now I'm going and that's like the activation energy. And then I can like keep moving after that.
I've actually told clients that before. I say, how many of you will sit on the sofa or sit in bed and doom scroll for 20 or
Yep.
30 minutes without even thinking?
Yep.
What if you were on an elliptical doing that? What if you were on a
Exactly.
treadmill doing that or a bike or whatever?
Right.
It's at least movement. It's at least starting. Yes, I'd
Yeah.
rather have you have focused,
Yes.
whatever attention to your movement. But sometimes just getting moving is good enough. So guess what? You can do it while you're doing that. And like you said, it gets your body moving and eventually then you get sort of into it. And my wife has a 5-minute rule. If she really doesn't feel like it, I really don't feel like it, do it for 5 minutes. If you really
Exactly.
still are just dying afterwards and don't feel like it, stop. It's not for you today. But after 5
Right.
minutes, you've kicked into that activation and now it's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
all right. I'm good.
Yeah. Exactly. So I hope we've given you guys some at least some food for thought, right? Thinking about what do you want to focus on? Like, what are the skills you want to build for this year? What are the skills you want to focus on? If there's areas of your body that aren't feeling very good, how do you want to address them?
Mhm.
Um, and then again, write it down, figure out how to start the process. Um, and again, it's not really resolutions. It's really just thinking about how can you refine your program. If you already have a program, we should also talk about that. Like those who really have a program, and I know a lot of people, and I'm thinking about some clients you mentioned, Brian, who are kind of on autopilot. Like I've been doing
Mhm.
the same program, whatever it is, reformer routine or a gym routine or an aerobic routine or cardio routine for years,
Mhm.
right? I've got definitely people that I know who like get stuck on a routine.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's a good place to start. But if you have a routine already, it may be time, if you've been doing that same routine for, months or weeks or years now, to think about maybe it's time to just change it up a bit, right? This may be a time to refresh a routine you already have.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I also want to remind people that you don't have to think of something so big.
Right.
We do have a tendency to think about that. I love the fact that the first thing you want to create is to drink water.
Right.
Because that's something that I guarantee most of us don't do enough of anyway. So your goal can be something as simple as that. It can be something that you know is good for you that you really are not doing for yourself. So make that change, make that decision as well. And that can be something to start moving you forward toward your other goals as well. So I wanted to just remind people, it doesn't have to be something very huge and large and overarching. Make it something that you can accomplish, but something that you know is going to help you with your health. I'd love it if it involved movement, because we all need more of that. But yeah, I think that make it something that's achievable, that you can do on a regular basis. Because remember, we can always add more later.
Yeah.
And I think reassessment is something that we're going to focus on as we do our accountability check-ins. Because if you've been doing it now for the last 2 months, cool. Now it's a habit.
Right.
How
Exactly.
can we improve that possibly?
Right. What's a little tweak that needs to happen? Just like you tweak your
Yeah.
clients' programs, right? You just like, oh, they've achieved this level. What's the next step? What's the next step? How do I keep moving that forward?
Yep. So keep tuned to what we're going to be doing over the next few months. We've got a lot of interviews coming up.
We do.
You guys are lucky. If you're listening, we've got some amazing people coming up. So something to look forward to. But we want to, every 4 or 5 weeks, about once a month, we want to have an accountability check-in. It's not going to be a whole episode. It's going to be a little bit of a thing just to remind you, okay, where are you? Are you on your path? Did you have a little stumbling block? Did you trip and fall? Do you remember where the path is at all? Okay, we need to figure that out and realign ourselves and say, okay, now we can get back on track. And when we have those check-ins, I think they're really important. And you and I can have check-ins that we can do with each other. So we're going to say, okay, here, are you focused on that? Have you been doing it? Have you been taking care of what needs to be taken care of?
Yeah, I like it. All right.
Cool.
So anything else?
No, I think that's good. I think that's
All
good.
right.
So we know what we need to do. I want you guys to write
Yes.
those things down.
Yep.
A couple of ideas. Put it in the comments, or share it with a spouse, someone else, someone who can be in accountability on a regular basis. But if you want to, please share it with us so we can keep everyone accountable as well. And we'll share more of what we're focusing on as well. And you can always reach us again, movingcombos@gmail.com. Moving Combos on Instagram is probably where we're the most often posting. We also have our YouTube channel under my name, Brian Ritchie. We're putting a lot of shorts and a lot of things out there. So if you see something, please do us a favor, hit a like, hit a subscribe. We really appreciate it. The more you do that, the better it is for us, and the more we can bring people on and do what we love to do, and that's talk about movement. So that's it for this week. We'll see you all next week. For Nora St. John, I'm Brian Ritchie. We'll see you then.
Happy New Year, everybody.